All right, how's everyone doing? This is Dr. Bagley. Thank you very much for joining me. Okay, so one of our Facebook friends had a little discussion with me, and we talked, and he gave me permission to talk about this. This is a topic that he suggests for me to express out to you, everyone. And so this is going to go on my Facebook and my YouTube channel. So it's not towards anyone, but if you're in a relationship, single, wanting to get in a relationship, I think this should really help bring a little bit more understanding. And we'll go from there. Okay, so today's topic, we're going to talk about perfect self and perfect relationships. What does that look like? This is going to be a broad sense, so it's nothing specific. But if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know. If you have something very personal, DM me, please. All right, guys, let's get into this. Perfect self. It's been a long day. I would like to start, and I forgot who says it, and I'll put it right here. He said, "In all the things that I know, the one thing I do know, that I don't know nothing. And all the things that I know, one thing I do not know is I don't know anything." Which simply means this. Okay, I have 2 PhDs. If you come to me and say, "Hey, Doc, talk to me about spirituality, religion," I got you. If you say, "Hey, Doc, come talk to me about psychiatry, counseling, all of that stuff," I got you. If I've been in business for 30 years, if you have anything about business, I got you. If you ask me about a computer, I don't know nothing about no damn computer. I don't know nothing about a car except how to put gas in it, fill up the tires, and change the tires. I don't know nothing about this, that, and the other, and everything else. I don't know nothing else. I know what I know, and I know what I don't know. And if I say I know something and I have an egotistical, conceited, arrogant kind of personality, that's just a red flag, everyone, to let you know that they're immature. I was there. Don't get wrong. 20s and 30s was a bad year for me. Okay, so the point is a perfect self. What is your perfect self? Well, ultimately, it's an ability that's inside of you to come out. Okay? My ability to run a business is my ability. I can't work. I knew I couldn't work for somebody when I was younger. I just couldn't do it. And so being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, that was my ability. And in having ability, one thing keeping knowing that I don't know anything is every single day I try to learn something, okay? And in learning something, I'm seeking out learning from someone, okay? Where does the perfection come? It comes if you have a higher power. I want to perfectly serve a God, okay? Imperfectly serving God is to take your ability and what you've been called to do and master it. You master who you are in your profession. You will never be perfect in anything, even in your profession. A scientist can have a PhD and tell me about an atom, but no scientist can ever say, where did the atom come from? How is it energy? We know it has energy. How does it have energy? Where did the energy come from? And so on and so on. There's always something missing in what you know. So therefore, know what you know, but know that you don't know nothing. Okay? But my ability to know what I know, I try to master it. Mastering just simply means from everyone else who is teaching it. I know what they know, and I know a little bit more. That's mastery. Perfection is God, the Creator. who created, and the striving to be perfect in what he's given me to master. And when I die, I should say, or I should be asked, or I'm hoping that what I've done is all that I could have done. That's being perfect. Okay. So when you strive for perfection, it's an everyday, every moment opportunity for you to grow. The day you say, I got it, is the day you become a fool. Okay? Okay. Now, when it comes to a perfect relationship, it's the idea that I have my profession and you have your profession. Okay? In a beginning of a relationship, it's all about proving yourself. So let me give you an example. If I'm a doctor, that's my profession, and I find or have a woman who is a hair beautician, a hairstylist, and she's been doing her job 10, 15 years. What does that tell me? And what does that tell her about me? It tells me that in the first beginning of her career, we all know in the beginning of all careers, it sucks. It's hard. It's a new experience. And yet 10, 15 years tells me she's been through many cycles, ups and downs in the cycles of her business and her profession, and she stuck with it. That tells me that she's a woman who has the ability to stick with something. Now, if I have a woman and in the last 5 years she has 7 jobs and she doesn't have a career in that one particular job, she's just doing, what does that tell you? That tells you she has no idea of really what it means to settle down and have a relationship. Or, well, yeah, it just basically means she's not ready. That's all it means. It just basically means she's still trying to find herself. She's trying to find her ability, and or she's trying to strive to her higher ability. And that works both man and female, doesn't matter. So the first thing in all relationships, when you're getting into a relationship, it's all about prove me. I used to tell my kids, when you start dating, look at their rooms, because if their room is messed up, then they're going to mess up your house. If they don't know how to cook, then they're not going to cook for you or your kids. And so on and so forth. It's all about proving yourself. Okay? So once you get to that, okay, you've been in your job 15 years. I don't care what you do. A hairstylist, for an example, right? I don't care. It's the idea that how long have you been in that? And then once you get to that proving stage, I can verify that you're doing what you're saying. If you says I was an entrepreneur for 3 years and yet you don't have a business, stop calling yourself an entrepreneur, right? You're not. If you say I want to do something and you're every day trying to find to do something, congratulations, keep pushing, keep going. You're not ready for a relationship because you need to focus on that. That's what I'm talking about. And so proving who you are tells me a lot about your ability to be in a relationship. Okay? And it goes into the idea of a body count. And I've heard this numerous times. You say that a body count should not matter, and it doesn't. If you don't care to be in a relationship, it doesn't. But if you care to be in a relationship, it absolutely does. Because if you tell me you're 20 years old and being 20 years old, you only had 3 relationships in your whole 20 years of living, I can say, oh, okay, fine. How long were you in each of those relationships? And you says, well, I was in 2 years for this one, 3 years for that one, 4 years for that one. I can see you're trying, and it's just the opportunity, if you will, for someone who's a little bit more secure to come into that relationship, and maybe, perhaps, assuming that if you really like me and I like you, we can actually work together for a long term. Okay. But if you come to me and you're 20 years old and you say you have 15 guys, what does that tell me as a man about your capability of having a relationship? You're not. Now, one of the ways that as a good man watches and examines this idea, because you can say whatever you want to say, it's the idea of examining this fact. How can I tell you only had 3 or 15, 20 guys in your 20 years of living? Is ultimately how you dress. It's a direct relations of dressing, right? Even though I don't have a tie, even though I don't look like, what do I look like, right? If you look too sexy, then that tells me you're either a prostitute or something. I don't know. You may not be, but the whole point is, what else are you giving me to look at? And if you're going to the bar all the time, and if you're having a lot of guys around you, and so on and so on and so on, the proving stage is very specific and very truthful, because you can't hide history. You just can't. And so once you prove yourselves to each other, then the next step is building trust. Okay? Keep in mind, when I'm talking to someone, I do not consider myself being in a relationship. If they ask me, are we boyfriend and girlfriend? Perhaps. Yeah, okay, let's say we're boyfriend and girlfriend. Okay. But we're still not in a relationship. We're a couple. We're not a relationship. We're a couple because we're building trust. I have to trust you first before I can say I'm in a relationship with you. And so in this context, there are certain things that's going to happen. And what I mean by this going to happen, meaning a 20-year-old might have a couple of breakups, but a 50-year-old woman who's been married for 10 years and then breaks up, one might have a harsher but the easier time to get over it because of time. The other one, the 50-year-old who has been married and divorced and kids, and it's harder for her because she's given so much of time in that relationship and it's not there. Using a 50-year-old woman who has been married for 10 years and got a divorce, and depending on who did what to the divorce, meaning did she cheat on him, he cheated on her, and all of that, it just depends on all of that, and I decide that I want to be with her. The question is, because I see she's been in a relationship for 10 years, that means something. But does the pain that she's having, the insecurities, the jealousies, all of that, does she express all of those emotional baggages, if you will, on me? And if she expresses those baggages on me, the question is, can I handle it? Or when I get to a point to not handle it, right? Because in this timeline of us being a couple, we're a companionship. We're not in a relationship because you don't have trust. You don't trust me. I don't trust you. That's just the way it goes. Now, building trust. Yes, building trust it takes time. The number one thing I want you to really be mindful of is loneliness. Okay? When you're building trust, that time that takes to build something, do not allow loneliness to blind you from the red flags that has been expressed. Okay? You just can't allow loneliness to be there to overwhelm you over those red flags. If they lie, if they do something that you didn't like, all right, you have to address those issues, because to say I don't like it is not to say I don't like you, it's to say I don't like what you just did. Can we work it out? And if you can work it out, then that's good. Okay? If you can't work it out, or they don't want to work it out, don't let your loneliness take over the idea of you needing to leave that person because they may hurt you because you didn't pay attention to those red flags and you didn't walk when you should have walked. Okay? All right. So once you prove yourself, once trust has been built up, the next stage is we're in a relationship. So how do we have a perfect relationship? The ultimate way that I know of over 23 years is when a couple come together and have common goals. Okay? I got my profession, you got your profession, and our common goal is when we get to 60, we want to leave this and we want to go to Hawaii or somewhere, and we want to buy a small shack and we want to be beach bums. I don't know, just whatever, right? The perfecting relationship is coming to that common goal. All right, we got time, and this is what we're going to do together. In the good days, we're going to do what we need to do. In the bad days, we're going to continuously do what we need to do to get through it. But then we're still going towards that common goal. Okay. A lot of times, guys, a woman wants a man to take lead. What that ultimately is she says that I think I want to do this. Let's go to Hawaii and retire. And you agree to a good idea. It's a good idea. I can do that. We can do that in X amount of time. Take lead just simply means I want to sit down and we're going to do a budget. We're going to stick to this budget and we're going to make sure whatever our goal is, I'm going to make sure it happens. And if when we get into the down cycle, we're going to work it out and you take lead, protecting the relationship, protecting the goal, and protecting all of that. And then you work towards an avenue of how to get out of that down cycle and get back on track. That, in today's time, is a man to protect a woman. Protect the goal, protect the relationship. Okay. If you have someone who is not protecting the relationship nor the goal, because ultimately there is no goal for one thing, that's a red flag. And I'm not saying break up with them. I'm saying you should have a secret account and start saving some money for the breakup that's about to happen. Because what happens is everyone is excited, 6 months into this, a year, we want to do this, we want to do that. But then after all is said and done, and then reality kicks in and life kicks in, people tend to get bored. And in boredom, they start to do things that's untrusting or that's not trusting within the relationship, or another way of saying it, it's not benefiting the relationship. And if they start saying me or I, then you need to realize that's a red flag. And again, I'm not saying let it go. I'm saying address it real fast. And once you address it, can we work it out? And if we can't, let it go. Okay? Because you can't have a relationship if it's a me and an I. You can't work towards a common goal together if it's a me or an I. And people do give you hints, and you're not taking those hints seriously. Okay? Relationship comes up, having a good time. Reality kicks in, life kicks in, it's a down cycle. You'll find very quickly if somebody's real serious in the down cycle. In the down cycle is really where you need to test them first. Don't break up with them. Test them. If they are not trustworthy, if they waver saying, this is about me, I can't stand this, I want more, I think I can do bad by myself, those kind of things. On the way up, before you get up, that up cycle in life, let them go. Grandmama used to say, you can do bad by yourself. And so by yourself is who you really should be about. Especially if your partner doesn't have a common goal with you, especially if your common goal, they're not taking lead. If they're a man and a woman, they're not being supportive, especially if they do things that's not beneficial for the relationship. You've got to let them go. Okay? If they are benefiting your relationship and enhancing you and you enhance them, if they don't say it's not about me, it's about us, if they say I'm going out but they look like they represent you, then give it time. Build trust. Give it time, because life sucks, right? And you're going to go through things. And all of knowing this, if the partner to be has been in a 10-year relationship or a 15-year relationship or whatever, I know they can go through some things. If they only had 1 or 2 or 3 boyfriends and they're 20 or 25, I know they're willing to go through some things. This is why proving yourself is very important. Taking time to build trust is very important. And then once you're in a relationship, a common goal should be important. And if there's any breakdown, get to a point where you just can't handle it. Let them go. Strive for self. Get to your highest ability. Look for somebody who's also working towards and going to their highest ability, and then go from there. Okay? And in today's time, independent woman, it is nothing wrong with finding a guy that you see to say, I like you. I want to be with you. I want to at least not be with you. I want to talk to you. Some of you waiting for a guy to talk to you. No. And if a guy is not talking to you, then you have to be mindful of why he's not talking to you. Is it the fact that you do not, you're not the image of him. You're the image of you, but not him. If you look like him, then he will recognize you. Just a nugget though. Okay? All right, so that's perfecting self, and that's a generalization of a perfect relationship. Prove yourself, building trust, have common goals, watch out for all of those selfish things, give it time, the time that they have already proven that you should have the security that they, with you, should be able to work towards something. and then in time you turn to 50, 60, 70 years old. Okay. Let me see if I got everything on my thing here. Yes, I think I got everything. All right. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please let me know down below. And if you have anything personally you want to talk about, DM me. Right. All right, guys. Have a great day.